How would you define, to make it really simple for anyone that's listening, how would you define flow and how would you define synchronicity?
A synchronicity, in the way I see it, first of all, Carl Jung invented the term, so positive psychologist. No, Csikszentmihalyi developed the field of positive psychology. Jung developed the field of analytical psychology. And Jung defined synchronicity as an acausal connection between two things, between what you're thinking and what you experience in the world. I'm going to be a little more specific because there's different types of synchronicities. You can have dream synchronicities where you have a dream that connects to your waking life. There's different types. What I focus on is trying to untangle one specific way of looking at this, which is a synchronicity is a situation or experience that you have in the moment, which becomes meaningful because it leads to another situation in the future that you're already wanting to have. So you have something that happens right now, which doesn't make sense. How did I bump into this person in the middle of Grand Central Station when I've been thinking about them for weeks? But it doesn't make sense right then how that could have happened. And yet later, maybe a week later, you realize you needed to talk to them about a book or about a movie or about a job or something like that. And so the context doesn't become clear until later. And so I look at synchronicities as events which are happening in our lives whose context is not clear to us. And yet it does fall within a bigger pattern that's happening in your life. And so there's this meaning that is there. So that's a synchronicity. Definitely.
Okay, cool.
So I'll give an example. I have a friend, this is a really simple one, but this friend had a ring that they had worn for many years and they couldn't remember the stone on it. It was this blue stone. And finally, one day they decided, as we do sometimes, like today I'm going to figure this out. I've been thinking about this for months, trying to remember this stone. I'm going to email my jeweler and ask to take a picture and send it to them. So they sent off the email and they didn't hear back right away. So they went to on with the rest of their day, which included going to get a manicure. At the manicure, she finishes up and the manicurist asks, do you have a stamp card so we can give you credit for coming today? So the woman reaches in her purse and fumbles around, pulls out a card. And it's not the stamp card. It's the card from the jeweler. And on the back of the card is written the words blue topaz, which is the name of the stone. She realizes immediately, yeah, she had written this down many years ago when she got the stone. So how did that card come to be in her purse? How did she end up at the manicurist and have the manicurist ask her to reach in her purse? That's really the synchronicity here, this small moment where she's asked to do something which is unrelated to her quest to find out the name of the jewel. But she goes along with it and she reaches in her purse and finds the answer to this other question that she's seeking. So there's the moment when she's asked to look in her purse is this unrelated experience of, I'm going to be asked to do something I don't understand, but the context becomes clear a minute later when she pulls out the card and realizes that it answers her question.
Beautiful. And the definition for flow?
So flow in Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's terms is an optimal state that we get into psychologically, where our head and our decision-making from our head is aligned with our decision-making from our body. We start to lose track of time because we're doing something we love. Of course, that word doing something we love is a little vague. We're in a zone of optimal functioning where we're doing something that's hard enough to keep us interested, but not so hard that we get stuck. And so flow is something that is very popular right now and we can really benefit from collectively experiencing more flow because it makes us more creative, more productive, less self-critical, more accessing and channeling the best parts of ourselves. Now, what I think is important, another way to define this in Csikszentmihalyi's words is if you think of your normal state as somewhere between trying to take control of life or enforce control and trying to let go of control. Like sometimes you get frustrated with life and you say, forget it. I'm just going to let it all happen however it happens. Those are both extreme ends of the spectrum, but flow is not even in the middle of that spectrum. Flow is jumping out of that whole spectrum and saying, I'm going to pay attention to the fact that I'm worried in the first place about whether I'm in control or not. So flow is about letting go of the worry about being in control. So when you're in flow, you might take control and you might let go of control and let somebody else be in charge. It's not prescribed. And this is why it's not easy to achieve just with the set of steps. You have to drop into a relationship with your experiences and with other people to figure out what's needed in the moment. So you develop a style rather than just being in flow all the time.